ABC News, 29th of July 2023, US and Australia strengthen their military ties to confront an aggressive China. The Allies must band together to combat one of the biggest threats of the 21st century because China is the new Axis power. After reaching an agreement that broadens their military cooperation, the United States and Australia will strengthen their military ties as both nations strive to thwart China's expanding influence and territorial claims in the Western Pacific. Following their annual meeting, which was held this year in Brisbane, Australia, the U.S. Defense Secretary and Secretary of State met with their Australian counterparts. According to the agreement, there will be an increase in American rotational presence in Australia, including more frequent submarine visits to a base in Western Australia, increased U.S. access to air bases in Northern and Western Australia, increased space cooperation between the two countries, a quickening of Australia's efforts to develop its capability for producing guided missiles, and efforts to forge closer security ties with other nations in the region, most notably Japan. Richard Marles, Australia's Deputy Prime Minister and Defence Minister, stated at a news conference held following Saturday's sessions that everyone there felt that the alliance has never been in better form than it is right now. The US is a vital ally, according to Australian Foreign Minister Penny Wong, who also noted that it is our closest global partner and our closest strategic partner. Recent talks with their American colleagues have focused on operationalizing the alliance to ensure peace, stability, and order, she said. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and Secretary of State Antony Blinken spoke at the same press conference to reaffirm their country's commitment to preserving the peace and security of the area, which China is posing a danger to. According to Blinken, who described China's destabilizing actions in the South China Sea and towards Taiwan, our two countries are defending the international rules-based order, which has supported peace and security for decades and ensures each country can make its own sovereign decisions free from coercion. According to Austin, as we collaborate to strengthen stability and deterrence in the region, the outcomes of today's meetings mark yet another significant step for our alliance. As the United States acquires access to new sites in Australia, it will be able to expand upon the rotating U.S. Marine rotational training presence that has been present in Darwin, which is located in far northern Australia, for the past 10 years. According to the new agreement, the United States will have access to 2 more airbases in that region of Australia and a base in Southeast Australia, where pre-positioned humanitarian aid supplies that could be utilized for disaster assistance in the South Pacific region are located. The introduction of regular and longer visits by U.S. Navy submarines to the HMAS Sterling military facility in Western Australia will have a more noticeable presence. According to a joint statement issued by both countries, these trips would aid in strengthening Australia's capacity in advance of Submarine Rotational Force West, a crucial step for the AUKUS optimal pathway that may start as early as 2027. The Strategic Security Agreement known as AUKUS between Australia, the United Kingdom, and the United States will assist Australia in purchasing nuclear-powered submarines that may become operational in 2035. Meanwhile, the United States will give Australia 3 Virginia-class attack submarines to complement its 6 diesel submarines. According to a senior U.S. defense official, the posture agreements made public on Saturday are a big deal that will enhance regional deterrence by having both nations cooperate in various fields, including space. Our agreement that space cooperation would subsequently play a significant role in our military and defense cooperation marks a significant advancement, according to Marles. Although Marles did not disclose details, he stated that it is instead natural that space would become one of the focal points of force posture initiatives as it develops as a domain of human context. The ongoing Talisman Sabre exercise, taking place in Australia with more than 30,000 military personnel from 13 countries, is one example of how space cooperation has already been demonstrated. U.S. Space Command has given a counter-communications system for the exercise that can block satellite communications from an enemy. As the U.S. and Australian militaries conducted search and rescue operations for the 4 Australian servicemen aboard an Australian military helicopter that crashed into the waters off northeastern Australia, the Talisman Sabre exercise was suspended on Saturday. The joint US-Australia agreement is dedicated to assisting Australia's Guided Weapons and Explosive Ordnance Enterprise (GWEO) project, which seeks to build its military sector. By collaborating with Australia to co-produce guided multiple launch rocket systems, GMLRS, by 2025, the US committed to supporting that program. With their continual employment by Ukrainian forces against Russia, 155mm artillery shells are currently in great demand. Under the terms of the deal, Australia can also participate in their future manufacturing.